Module 15, Problem Solving and Self-Care. Welcome to the 15th module of this course. This module will help you practice self-care to cope with stress and to problem solve. In this module, you will learn about stress and self-care and how to find solutions to problems that may come up. Lesson 1. Home Practice Review. Let's review your home practice from Module 14. You were asked to think of routines you already do with your child that you could expand on. For each of the home routines you are working on, decide on the next 2 or 3 small steps and plan to start teaching your child at least one of those steps. Home practice. What you learned. Answer the following questions about your practice in your journal. Which play and home routines did you try? For the play routine, what were the steps or new materials you tried to add? Was your child able to do the new steps or use the new materials? And did you offer any help? Remember that the levels of help are show and say, provide a little physical help, and provide a lot of physical help. For the home routine, did you do the steps in a different order? Were there 2 routines you tried to link together? And what things can you try next time? Please pause the course here to write in your journal before continuing. Lesson 2. Rosa's Story. Learning to look after my health and well-being. Parenting can be hard work, especially when your child has a developmental delay or disability. It takes extra energy to continue to practice things that you learned in this course. This story is about a caregiver named Rosa who experienced some difficulties. Rosa lives with her daughter Lucia and her 4-year-old son Andrea. Andrea has a developmental delay and he often becomes very upset and screams. It has been getting more and more stressful for Rosa as her son grows older. Sometimes Rosa tells herself, "I must not be doing a good job." Sometimes she thinks, "What is the use of continuing to practice the strategies I learned in this course? His behavior is getting worse anyway." Over time, Rosa started to feel tired and irritable. She found it difficult to sleep at night, and sometimes she cried. She had bad headaches most days, and she did not feel like eating. One day, Rosa saw her friend Francesca in the market. Francesca wanted to talk, but Rosa said she had to go home instead. Rosa thought to herself, "I should not be wasting my time chatting. I should really be doing chores." When Rosa took Andrea to his next appointment, she began to cry in front of the nurse. Rosa did not want anyone to know that she was having difficulty, and she felt very embarrassed. The nurse asked her what was wrong, and Rosa explained everything. The nurse said she was glad that Rosa told her about her difficulties. She explained that it is common for caregivers of children with developmental difficulties to have a lot of stress. She also said that there are many reasons why Andrea's behavior might be getting worse, and that this does not mean that Rosa should stop trying the strategy she knows. The nurse explained that some stress is normal, but when we feel a lot of stress, or we have stress over a long period of time, it can have a big impact on everything in our lives, including our emotions, our relationships, our health, and our ability to do things. The nurse explained that it is important for Rosa to take care of herself. In order to be able to do her best with Andrea, Rosa needs to look after herself as well. The nurse explained that some caregivers find that it is difficult to accept the difficulties with their child, and they can feel like they are constantly struggling with how things are. The nurse said that while it is not easy to do, it can be helpful if Rosa can 1. Try to acknowledge that the situation is very difficult. 2. Accept that Andrea has these difficulties. 3. practice being gentle and forgiving with herself and Andrea, while 4, still focusing on what she can do to help him. Giving herself permission to take a break and not always trying to fix everything at all times is also important. Acceptance does not mean that you like the situation. It just means that you acknowledge what is happening and you focus your efforts on what you can do to look after yourself and your child. Speaking to the nurse really helped Rosa feel better about her emotions and thoughts. She also realized that she did not need to be so hard on herself. The nurse makes another appointment with Rosa so that they can meet again and talk. Lesson 3. Your self-care. Sometimes caregivers can feel guilty if they take time out to look after themselves. This is common. For example, Rosa missed out on the chance to talk to her friend because she thought she should be doing chores. This may impact Rosa's relationship with her friend, but it also means that she missed out on connection and support. Caregivers often ignore their own needs because they are trying to help their families. We can see from Rosa's story that it is very important to find ways to care for yourself, too. Here are some additional things to consider about self-care. It may be very difficult to find ways to care for oneself when caregivers have limited money or time, but this is so important for the entire family. Caregivers can protect their mental and physical health by caring for themselves the best they can. Caregivers who take care of themselves may have more energy to take care of others, and if we have better well-being, it will be easier to cope when there are unexpected, difficult situations. Ways to practice self-care. It is important that you are kind to yourself and set small goals for caring for yourself. Here are some ideas about ways to practice self-care. Trying to eat regularly and eating the healthiest foods we can is likely to be helpful for both our bodies and minds. Sleep is important in maintaining our energy, and the amount of sleep we can get can also have an impact on our stress and emotions. Physical exercise can also reduce stress and improve our health and mental well-being. Feeling connected to other people and supported by them is very important for well-being. Sometimes, in order to stay connected, it is important to reach out to people around us. Spending some time on pleasant activities, such as meeting with friends and family, reading, taking a walk, or listening to music, can help us to cope with stress and regain energy. Doing things that are important to us, such as religious practices, or belonging to a group or organization, can also help our well-being. We can also care for ourselves by practicing acceptance. This means that we acknowledge our situation and we stop fighting against things we cannot change. Acceptance does not mean that we like the situation or that we want things to be how they are. For example, if Rosa spent a lot of her energy wishing that her son did not have a developmental difficulty, this would not be very helpful to her. It may help her more if she accepts that her son is the way he is, and then uses her energy to help him, rather than wishing his challenges would go away. Being kind and understanding towards ourselves is also important. We should try to speak to ourselves with kindness, like we would speak to a good friend, especially when we are having difficulties. It's also important to get help from a nurse or other professional, like Rosa did, when needed. This is especially important if we are having difficulties such as being irritable or sad, not enjoying activities, blaming ourselves too much, sleeping or eating too little or too much, having low energy, or suffering from physical symptoms like headaches or body weakness. Key message 2. care for yourself to help you and your child. Take care of yourself the best way you can by trying to eat well, getting enough sleep, and taking good care of your health. Do activities that are important to you and activities that you enjoy. Reach out to others and stay connected. And make your well-being a priority. Make sure you are well so that you can support your child. Writing practice. Your self-care. Think about the following questions and write your answers in your journal. What are you already doing to take care of yourself and soothe the stress that can come with caring for a child with a developmental difficulty? What self-care activities would you like to do more of? Are there any new self-care activities that you could try? And how would you like these activities to help you? For example, to be more patient, have more energy, feel less tired, or feel more connected to others. Remember, when you are less stressed, it is easier to remain calm and consistent and best engage with your child. This is best for your child's learning. Please pause the course here to write in your journal before continuing. Lesson 4. Rosa's Story. Looking after myself and using problem solving. You will learn more about Rosa and how she finds solutions to some of her problems by problem solving. After reading about Rosa, think about how these problem-solving strategies could help you. Before Rosa left the clinic, the nurse asked her to do one small thing to improve her well-being. At first, Rosa was not sure, but the nurse said it would help her and might also help Andrea's behavior. The nurse asked Rosa to choose something that was meaningful, important to her, and make a clear plan. So Rosa decided to call her friend Francesca that day. Rosa spoke with Francesca, and it made her feel better. She even told Francesca about the difficulties she was having with Andrea, and Francesca was very encouraging. The nurse said they would do some problem solving together because it can help people worry less about their problems. She asked Rosa to think of one problem to work on today that is happening now and involves something that Rosa has control over. She explained that it will not be helpful to choose a problem like, "My mother's health might get worse," because this is something that might happen, but it's not happening now. Also, her mother's health is not something that Rosa has much control over. Rosa explained that she wants to visit Francesca, but she does not know who will look after Andrea and Lucia. The nurse explained that they would first think of all the possible solutions to the problem they could without judging them. Rosa suggested these possible solutions. Ask my mother-in-law to come to our home to watch Andrea and Lucia while I go to visit Francesca. Bring Andrea and Lucia to my mother-in-law's home so she can watch them while I am with Francesca. Ask Francesca to come to my home for the visit, and Andrea and Lucia can stay with me at home. The nurse asked Rosa if she could think of any more options, and Rosa added to the list, "Ask Maria from the caregiver training course." Maria has a son who is around the same age as Andrea. Maria and Rosa had talked about the possibility of minding each other's children so that the other could take a break. Once the list was complete, the nurse asked Rosa to think about what solutions would be less suitable. Rosa said that her mother-in-law is very busy. The nurse encouraged Rosa to think about the two options that remained on the list and the advantages and disadvantages of each. Here are her ideas. Option 1. Ask Francesca to come to my home for the visit, and Andrea and Lucia can stay with me at home. Advantages. I don't have to take the time to travel to Francesca's home. Disadvantages. Francesca will need to travel to my home. I enjoy the walk to Francesca's, and I will miss out on this. And I won't get to have a break from Andrea. Option 2. Ask Maria from the Caregiver Skills course to mind Andrea and Lucia. Advantages. Maria knows what to do if Andrea has a tantrum. Andrea could be around Maria's son. Disadvantages. I would have to mind Maria's son another time. And I am nervous to ask Maria because I haven't seen her since the end of the course. When the nurse asked Rosa to choose the solution she thought was best, she chose ask Maria to mind Andrea and Lucia. The nurse then asked Rosa to make an action plan by stating exactly what she needed to do to make that solution happen. Rosa decided that she would call Maria that afternoon to ask if she could mind Andrea and Lucia. Rosa starts to see that making a plan can help her to worry less and take better care of herself and her family. Rosa goes back to see the nurse and slowly starts to feel better. Key message 3. You can find solutions to problems by problem solving. Follow these steps to find solutions to a problem that is real, happening now, and that you have some control over. First, think of as many possible solutions as you can, then eliminate solutions that are not suitable. Third, think of the advantages and disadvantages of the remaining solutions to help you decide which options are the best. Fourth, pick at least one solution and make an action plan that is very clear and specific. And finally, try out your plan. Home practice plan. Self-care. Choose one activity that is important to you and plan to spend at least 5 minutes doing this activity every day or every other day. This could be a very simple activity, such as talking to someone you care about, singing, doing something for others, or spending 5 minutes sitting quietly, etc. Remember to practice the tips from this session and the last session. Expand your routine. Use show and say to add new steps. Link 2 routines together to expand a routine that the child can do. Please pause the course here to write in your journal before continuing. Module 15 Summary. What you learned. Care for yourself to help you and your child. And you can find solutions to problems by problem solving. Congratulations on your progress. You have reached the end of the World Health Organization's e-learning Caregiver Skills training course. Over the duration of this course, you have been asked to do a lot of extra work to help your child. Congratulations on working so hard. It's important to recognize how much progress you have made, no matter how small the steps. As you continue to practice with your child, you are welcome to go back to earlier modules to review what you learned. Thank you, and goodbye.